Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here today. This is Sunday, November 4th, I think. Hoping you're all having a good weekend. Got so many questions here to answer for you. And just remember, though, if you're suffering and you need help bad, you call into the club here, you go to Facebook, Friends of Dr. Morris, and there'll be plenty of people to help you there. So, and thank you for all your help out there, each and every one of you. Working and helping others is the best joy there is. And it just all adds to the oneness of everything. So it's always a deep pleasure to speak to you and to talk to you about your health needs and help you with understanding what causes things. Remember, I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but keeping it simple is the key to all of this. The complexity that the mind brings to creation is how you get lost to that. And keeping it simple is how you find your way back. So with that said, let me go through these and as many as I can today and see if I can cover as much. I know I'm overwhelmed with so much here, but if I don't get to you, I apologize. Resubmit it, please, and we'll cover that. Okay, so it says, Doc, I am building a detox center here in South Florida. Oh, that's neat. Next year. I just found you, thank God, and I am studying iridology and naturopathic medicine. Well, I'm so thrilled to see people opening up detox centers. The naturopathic medicine, if we can get rid of the medicine, it'll be so much better. And go to the old naturopathy. Naturopathy is the holistic view of this, is the father, if you will, of this. Naturopathic medicine was coined more by medical doctors who own naturopathic schools. And that's been my little gripe on the side, is that you're trying to pull something pure and holistic and simplistic into the separate treatment-based ideology of allopathic medicine. And therefore you see naturopathic physicians out there giving high-protein diets, meat eating. It doesn't matter if it's free range. Naturopathy never included the concept of meat eating. Fits right in with the natural hygienic people. Meat eating has always been in natural health that which you stop or try to stop, or that which you reduce to almost nothing. Cheat here and there. That's always been the primal side of natural health. How this got lost was more medical. I know medical doctors that with good intentions came and wanted to be naturopaths, but then raised their own cattle and animals, and so and you just have those that have that mindset. But true naturopathy and true healing never included the consumption of dead animal tissue. Some do, and I don't care. But at the same time, I don't think it should be something in a practice that someone is telling someone they should do. Go eat free range. You should always inspire your students or your clients or patients to avoid animal foods at all costs, and particularly the dairy products from these animals. I think that if one removes all animal products out of their lives, you'll feel the difference of what that does to you. A huge difference of getting away from meat eating. If you have to substitute beans for that, okay, but try to do that. I think you'll be better off. This girl, a lady, I think it is a lady, Rosanna, is going to see us next year. She was heavy and lost a lot of weight. She stopped all the meat, looks like. No milk for 6 years. Working more in fruits and veggies right now. She's going right down the line she needs to. Cravings after dinner, after lunch or dinner. Maybe I created a bad habit. I'm eating more fruits and craving seems to ease a bit, but not 100%. Well, I've always said, you're better off if you eat smaller meals more often through the day. Your body digests better that way. Everything works better that way. And then, of course, get into the body with like Parasite M and of course, moving on the lymph system, always standard issue. Then you're going to get a hold of the funguses and any of the bacterium that's involved in the more proteolytic type, protein type will leave the body. And your cravings will really stop. They just have to work through these things sometimes, like going on a water fast. You have to work through the cravings for food for a while, a couple of days, and then you don't have them at all. So initially these things, you work through these things, but remember fungus always brings the craving of starches. Carbohydrates are fruits and vegetables, but the complex carbohydrates are called starches. And that's your grains and things like this. But really, fungus is involved in fermentation, and you see that even with fats, with cheeses and stuff like that. And therefore, you crave cheeses and pastas and things like that. And some of these are considered emotional foods because they're linked right to the adrenal glands and sugar metabolism. So when you're having sugar metabolism problems, weak adrenals, then you're bringing in the fungus at an accelerated rate by eating these kinds of foods because you don't metabolize these level of sugars. You don't feel it at the time, but it's happening inside of you, fermentation. Will these cravings disappear as soon as I eat more fruits? Yeah, she's having 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. That's perfect. 17 liver flushes. I think you've done enough. Liver flushes is spasming the liver, and you really don't need to do any more. The liver isn't a detoxifying organ. Keep that in mind. It's a chemical manufacturing plant. So be cautious about overstressing the liver with coffee enemas and stuff like that. Not the way to get well. The way to get well is pure chemistry. You don't have to overstimulate something and think you're going to shake it and make it do better and things like that. You're after the health of every individual cell in the human body. Those cells depend upon both nutrition, of course, lightly put, and, of course, elimination of waste. So now we see that nutrition is easy to understand. That's why getting away from that, because you have the American Dietetics Association, you have the same thing going on that the allopaths do, in that states are going after people who practice nutrition, even if it's natural nutrition, because you have nutritionists out there. The whole thing is regurgitating, is sickening, and it just shows you the narcissistic attitude that man has developed. And, you notice I share with you everything. And that's because we want to better ourselves, bring the spiritual energies in. And this is the way it should be on every level. We share with others and we work with others. So nutrition is a word that's got a bad flavor in the mouth because you have as many opinions in that as you do people that practice it. And the sad thing is it's easy to understand nutrition. Just plain easy. That's why I don't even get into it, because if you're thinking about individual isolates of chemistry, like calcium, magnesium deficiencies and everything, you'll pull your hair out and you'll never find it. You'll never be able to get a homeostasis of chemistry because it doesn't exist in the first place. And you'll never get someone well over acid retention, kidney failure, things like this, because you can't take minerals or isolates and repair kidney damage or repair liver damage. Can't do it. At best, they're symptom treaters, and at worst, they add to the problem inside as becoming free radicals and part of the coagulation of chemistry in the body. So playing that road doesn't end anywhere either. I did that early on, remember? We've talked about that. Naturopaths are doing today, and I still get all their clients because they come in with same problems, been to this naturopath and that naturopath, and I hang my head because naturopaths need to get their act together out there and form a oneness of naturopathy. Kick what they learned in school, because again, academics, remember what we talked about in the last video, and that's the problem. Just stop and look at that. How it divides and separates, and many times you're putting illusionary concepts in your consciousness, and why waste your time when you could be enjoying God consciousness? So it's just the way it is, and it's levels and it's understandable. But I hate to see such an aberrated thinking as allopathic thinking come into naturopathy, which was pure and simplistic and wholesome and energetic and rebuilding and all that sort of thing. No tonsils, feel much more energetic right now. Feel very hard now to lose weight because of the sweets I eat. See, and that just tells you, Rosanna, that you're dealing with fungus-type problems in the body. Common stuff out there, you know. I'm notorious for grabbing a cookie once in a while myself, you know, and it's like, well, that's life on the fast lane, you know. To find a point of pureness doesn't exist in the human level, and particularly on this planet at this particular day and age. And it is not essential to do that, in that you'll go crazy trying to do that. Whether you ever reach a point of perfection, if you can even use that word, because creation is not about perfection. It's dualistic. It's up, it's down, it's constantly moving. It moves between the two poles. So perfection you already are. Remember that. All right. This is Jerry. My grandson has a grapefruit-sized cyst in his bile duct. It's not a good place to have a cyst. All backed up in his system, got pancreatitis. They treated him in Children's Oakland Hospital for a couple of weeks and sent him home to heal from surgery. Oh, treated, I would say. Removal, I take it. His numbers are climbing again, and he's starting to have pain again, and they want to do surgery in the next 2 weeks to remove the cyst. They didn't do that in the first place, and repair the bile duct and remove his gallbladder. Ouch! I am questioning the need to remove the gallbladder, especially in a 2-year-old. You can call if you need to. I think we better. Yeah, might be a little late. When do we get this? It says, thank you. A couple of my girlfriends have had great success with Dr. Morris's herbals. Jerry. Well, I wish Chris would have handed this to someone. I'll say this if we don't call you first thing in the morning. Yeah, the removal of tissue in the body because of the lymphatic system is the forte of medical thinking. And the sad thing is compromising a 2-year-old's ability to deal with fats from here on the rest of their life just isn't it. And you know what? It doesn't fix a thing. It doesn't fix why he has the cyst. Think about a cyst or a tumor or a boil or a pimple. What system do you think these come out of? And what are they? Well, look in your dictionaries and find the definitions of these pockets of fluid. And when you look and see pockets of fluid, what 2 fluids do you find almost in every cyst, and every tumor, and every boil, and every pimple? You see just a trace of blood and, right, sewage, lymph, pus, mucus. That's the lymph system, interstitial fluids. So when you see something backing up, and when you see a cyst or a tumor, the first thing you're going to think is something's backing up. That's just common sense. But sometimes you lose common sense in the intellectualism of the mind. And that's why I'm saying to you, simplicity is always the key, guys. But this is a lymph backing up in the 2-year-old, and let me tell you, if it's backed up in the bile duct, it's backed up all in the GI tract wall. So this little young person is going to have malabsorption, and of course, at 2 years old, developing cysts, he's going to pop them everywhere in the body as life goes on. So you need to detox this young man ASAP. If they have to go in and remove the cyst, if it's too big and it's blocking bile and stuff, okay. But I would never let him move the gallbladder. If he has stones, get him on the fruits. At 2 years old, he should be chowing down the fruits, eating on the bananas, sucking down the grapes. 2 years old, you need to have your children on fruits, and a lot of them, or you're not going to mature the brain. You're not going to mature comprehension in the nervous system. That's the whole idea of eating fruits. It isn't a fruit. That's where the nutrition is. That's where the power is. Remember we talked about in the last video, consciousness is energy. Intelligence is energy, is chemistry. Well, fruits have the highest energy of all foods on the planet. So you have to understand there's a lot more in this baby than just being a fruit. When we say fruit, man is going like this, but that's because man's decaying in his consciousness. So he's pushing the good things, the things that helps him away, and sucking down the things that are killing him and mutating him. And we're here to bring the light to change that. You have to stand tall with that. And fruits, these babies need to be on fruits. And I'm telling you early on, had this child been on fruits in about 3 or 4 months, he wouldn't have probably had this cyst. But the milk drinking on a child like this, and I'm telling you, it's coming in the future, and I've been talking to all you guys about this, these children are in trouble. They're in trouble with their kidneys and adrenals beyond comprehension, and therefore you're seeing tumors all in them, cysts all in them, and this is going to go right back to this young man or young lady's grandson, young man's adrenals and kidneys. And you got to fix them now, because the cyst is just the tip of the iceberg. So definitely try to get a hold of you before this comes out, because that's important to deal with that. We can't tell you what to do, but we can sure tell you what we would do for ourselves. In my 2-year-old, I tell you that right now, that wouldn't be good, because I need to put this in here like this so it gets there. All right, Chad. You talk a lot in your videos about the importance of the kidney and bowels in detoxification. However, I haven't heard you say much about the liver or spleen. Oh, good question. What roles do the liver and spleen play in detoxification, and how do they interact with the rest of the body? Chad, it was a really good question, and I guess I just kind of was talking on that way, and in the last video. A lot of people, when they talk about detoxification, they talk about detoxing the liver. You know, and so many of these things have come through the years. I want you to think about this. Why are you detoxifying the body in the first place? And two, when you're detoxifying the body, that means there has to be an elimination involved, right? An expectoration involved. And then the next question is, what are you expectorating and eliminating? Going back to the first question is, why do you detox? So understanding the lymphatic system is key essential to understanding why in detoxification do you see primarily mucus coming out of the body. Read Arnold Ehret's book, The Mucus Diet Healing System, Rational Fasting, things like this, to get a really good handle of that. But this is simply coming from the mucosa, mucus produced when abrasive chemistry was consumed, predominantly proteins, whether it's dairy proteins, animal proteins. Body doesn't like these foreign type proteins. And you get mucus from it. When you eat a meal and you feel mucus from that meal wasn't good for you. Of course, sugars causes mucus too. So complex, any chemistry causes mucus because it's complex to the body, and the body just doesn't deal with complexities. That the whole life works better in simplicities. So the liver is a major, and I have talked about this on other videos, excuse me, mucus. The liver is a complex biological transmutation organ. It transmutes chemistry constantly. And I've talked about this in a few videos ago, Chad, about how biological transmutations came out in the early 1900s. I think I still have his book here. And again, as in science, it was frowned on and boo-hooed, and now they're learning all kinds of things. It was even talked about that amino acids can be formed from glucose, which is really freaky to me. Different structure. So I can't tell you. I can say that this organ is a chemical factory like no other. In a couple of videos, I gave you an analogy that if you had to build a chemical plant to match the functions of the liver, then you would have 500 acres of land to start with. We don't even know all the biological transmutations. You know, it's talked about in herbology and stuff that silica is converted to calcium and all this kind of stuff. There is a constant transmutating of chemistry in this organ. It doesn't detox to the outside world. It takes chemistry and ingests from the bowel wall, and then takes that chemistry and forms it as the body needs, and then sends it off in the blood. So it's actually the organ in between absorption and the lungs and heart, where when you smoke or bring something in through the lungs, you bypass that. So the chemistry, the liver doesn't have a chance to augment or bring the chemistry into balance so the blood can handle it. And in one way of thinking, you could say that, you know, when you consume acids, the liver has to find bases, has to deal with that in some manner. The spleen, of course, is, in my opinion, how the blood cleans itself. It is called a blood and lymphatic organ. However, I think if you look at it closely, this is how the blood refurbishes red blood cells. This is where platelets mature from the bone marrow, white blood cells. So in all leukemias, you're going to go to the spleen and refurbish the spleen. It's just an organ, just like the pancreas and the liver, that's made of cells and two fluids that deal with the health of those cells. Same thing. So when you detoxify the body, all fluids, that's what you're after. Because detoxification isn't really about the cell as much as it is about the fluids. getting the fluids hydrated, getting the fluids in proper chemical balance and energized, then reaches to the cell and helps the cell rebuild itself. Because it's all energy, magnetics, consciousness, and of course on the lower end, the chemistry of that. So this is so much about all these things together. This isn't much about frequency and vibration as it is chemistry. You know, you guys are on so much raw and stuff, when you get out there and you get sensitive, especially in the more higher fruit levels, you're going to find that chemistry is really, or foods really have vibrations to them, and you can't handle some of the lower vibratory foods anymore, and you just, oh, my body don't want these things. And so it's so much more about that. And it's hard to explain to the average Homo sapien beyond energy what exists. Because energy can't be seen or touched. Neither can consciousness or awareness. You know, how did you describe how you're looking at me, and how you can describe how you're simulating it through the mind, but your awareness that's watching behind that, the watcher of this movie. How do you describe that? You can't touch that. You can't do that. You can only be that, and I don't know how you can even describe it. It's difficult. But that spleen is a vital organ for blood cleansing, and the lymph. That's how the blood dumps what it doesn't want into the sewer system. Everybody dumps what they don't want into the sewer system or the trash, and it's no different in the human body. Keep it simple. And when you understand that, then you understand why cleaning that organ is vibrant to red blood cells, hemoglobin, hematocrit, just like it is in the liver. But remember, iron and things like this is also metabolized in the adrenal glands. So there's a connection between the adrenal glands and minerals as there is in the liver and hemoglobin and things like this, and the hemes and stuff. You know, and how the spleen breaks the red blood cells down. This whole process of how the body moves through chemistry. I don't like to get too heavy into it because it doesn't serve anybody well. Get you a medical dictionary and read up on it, and that way it won't clog people's minds. Because, you know, in school you can tell when people get saturated, and I saw that a lot this last week, where you just get saturated with knowledge that you have a burnout syndrome. So I have to pull back from that. Keeping it simple all the time is important to do that, and go on to other studies. But if you really want to tear the body apart, it's a lot of fun. But put it in the context of understanding that you have a kitchen and a bathroom in it. Get away from modern physiology thinking and add your twist, add this higher understanding, put the kidneys in place. Put organs that eliminate sewage to the outside world. And that's going to be your skin, which is considered the third kidney. That's going to be your kidneys, primal 3 organs that eliminate cellular waste and parasitic waste, and then, of course, your digestive waste through the stool. Of course, every hole you have can become an eliminative waste channel. And this, we've said this before, by using black SAS and opening up the body, you can definitely open up a port. You create a new hole. And that's like opening the door in a darkness, and you're opening the doorway into the light, and everybody runs to the light. This is why you see these places ooze, decubiti, and stuff like this in hospitals, bed sores, and so to speak, oozing. The body wants to clean itself, and it will make its own opening if you don't open it up. So thanks, Chad. Thanks for the question. Appreciate that. Hello, Dr. Morse. I just want to thank you for all your help and work. Oh, thanks, sweetheart, or whoever this is. Oh, Victor, thanks, my friend. I am amazed of how far your information is spreading. Well, you know what? I am too. But I tell you, sent here to do this, and I can only tell you that I've been looking at this for years, wondering how are we going to accomplish this goal? And I hate to say it, but the suffering of man is one of the impetus, or one of the vortexes or modus operandi of how this works. And I think it's just time. You know, you're involved. You guys out here are going to see some things, some changes in history that hasn't been seen for 100 years or more. And so just be prepared for that. We need to bring that light and love and health and healing worldwide. And you see how simple it is. But then you can call me a simpleton or whatever. I do love to use my mind. That's the problem. But as I get older, it's like part of that consciousness of spirituality is trying to keep me away from using the mind too much. Because when I do, then the complications, and then there's some things I would like to get a better grip on. There's no question about it. But it takes awareness, not thought. Because knowledge is already out there as much as this planet knows. It takes awareness to put it together. You have to get above and see. Hard to describe it. The difference would be trying to see the forest as you're walking through the forest, or getting on top of the mountain and looking down on the forest and seeing the whole thing. That's the difference between mind, walking through the forest, and awareness or soul or consciousness getting on top of the mountain and looking over the whole forest. Big difference. That old analogy, you can't see the forest for the trees. That's the difference between consciousness or awareness and thought. And so until you do that, it's hard to answer some of these questions. And I keep trying to get to the top of the mountain and overview, because that is much more groundbreaking. Whether it fits in science, they always catch up 50, 100 years later. Because it takes them a while for the mind to finally arrive at the doorway of where you already know. So that's why I always say it's better to work on your spirituality and keep it simple and get the health and detox the body and let the understanding come forth. Don't put too much attention. A little attention always goes a good way. You are starting a revolution against diseases. Yeah, let's start a revolution against the whole concept of disease, my friend, because, Victor, this concept of disease is illusionary. Disease, if you use the word acidosis in the place of diseases, you'll see why. You'll see the corrosive nature of acids, and then you'll link that to the corrosiveness of what they lightly term diseases. But it puts the power in your hand, Victor, and everyone else's hands. It puts that power back because, wait a minute. This is just chemistry and physics in motion. And I can come in and affect that because you're the conscious being here. You can come in and affect how you deal and use chemistry and physics to your betterment or to your worse. And thank you, Victor. This guy's just turned 23 years old. And this is why I love you guys. You're the youth of the day. And I was told this a long time ago, that it would be you guys that turns this world around. And so I'm really proud to work with you guys. 20-year-olds here, very high souls coming to the planet. You grab this on, you're definitely a higher soul. And God bless you guys. This is we need you bad. And the trouble is, my heart goes out to you because when you wake up to 23 years old, you're waking up to genetic kidneys and adrenals like never before. And then, of course, all the other things, like you're seeing this child with hepatic or pancreatic problems because of the blocked bile duct. They're just showing that whole thing. Why they would jump over, if it's on the pancreatic side, why they would take the gallbladder gets me. I have inflamed gums. Okay, so when you have inflamed gums, you know that all your gums are cells and two fluids. So when you see inflammation, you know that it's acids building up. And it's really much more difficult in today's world, especially raised on milk and all the congestion from the dairy products. You really get this upper bronchial, sinus, throat, voice box. You always get this full of mucus. And then, of course, the inflammation of the gums. And then it goes deeper because then these acids start breaking down the roots of the teeth and blah, 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 blah. And then you get abscesses in there, and then you get the breakdown of the teeth. And I have a couple of teeth with brown coloring, and seems that they are decaying since I was 5 and 6 years of age. And that's the issue. The more acidic a person becomes, this decay, not only in the mouth, this decay could be in your body and in any bony structure or any tissue, which is anything from bones to pancreases to livers to kidneys and prostates. So by the time you have it up here, Victor, you got it all through you, man, and you just really want to get this lymph system moving, get your kidneys and adrenals, make sure you're filtering. Make sure you're filtering here. That's really key. And get that opened up. You can use the Heal All tea and use it as a gargle or hold it in your mouth. Now, it's aggressive, so make it a little on the light side, but you could hold that in your mouth and start drawing out some of these acids through the gums themselves. Very healing also to the teeth. And check your parathyroid, Victor, and make sure you're utilizing calcium. Check your fingernails if you have any depression, any things like that, because you got to rebuild this enamel. And you want to start getting these acids out of here so you can, or Mr. Dentist is going to make some money on you, like he did me. Yeah, but look how long you've been dealing with this, and that's my point. Now, it's just like this young man here that's having a cyst in his bile duct. He's only 2 years old. Well, that's nothing. I mean, we got him in two with, I just got a child here from overseas. He's 2 years old, and he has a huge tumor on his adrenal gland. And they have him on chemo, of course, and now the chemo has broken down the bones, and now he has bone cancer. I mean, where does this madness stop, you know? And it has to come in forms of awareness. Even if the awareness has to be in a court of law, good luck. But that sort of thing, there has to be an awareness. Because if I'm doing something that's hurting somebody, please someone make me aware of that, because I don't want the lifetimes of karma that it could bring. So no one wants to really hurt anybody, I think, deep down in. I mean, there's a lot of angers and there's a lot of misguided souls out there, and that's just not on this planet. It seems as the years keep going by, my teeth are becoming worse. Instead of being white, they are gray. My bones and tissues feel weak. Okay. Yeah, you want to work on your parathyroid. And realize that when you have inflammation in the gums, your throat's involved, you're sitting on top of the kidneys. So anything up here is involved. So your parathyroid's involved here. You want to hit that. I do the glandular with some kelp. Check your height and everything. Check maybe the pituitary. Get a picture of your eyes. Take a look at that, because you might want to address the pituitary in your life as well. Get your glands back on. Get those adrenals. Get the endocrine glands. If they control everything, including metabolism and utilization of chemistry and everything else, get those on. But I would definitely check that parathyroid. That's what comes to me too here. Check that. Get that moving. At the same time, get that lymph moving, because that's what suppresses. When you look at a cell, just picture yourself as any cell. Cell in the parathyroid that produces parathormone, which is what utilizes calcium. So I'm a cell, and what's going to suppress my function? Well, yeah, the head honcho, the pituitary, but what if I was a pituitary, I'm a cell in the pituitary, what could suppress my function as a cell? Definitely these two fluids. If I don't get blood, I'm going to probably die. And two, if I don't eliminate my waste, I'm going to get mutated on those wastes. A suffering way to die for cells. Blood fairly quick, like a heart attack. But lymph stagnation equals inflammation, equals the mutation of a cell before it's on its way to death. Worst way to die there is. And so one's quick and one's long and painful. And that's also to the cells, because when you kill the human body, that's what you're killing, is the cells that comprise it. Two fluids just handle the health of that. So detoxification is going in and dealing with these two fluids, and the glands and organs that deal with these two fluids. That's another thing we have to realize, is that the kidneys and the adrenals deal directly with the sewer system, along with so many other systems. That's the thing. One gland does a whole bunch of things, and the adrenals, holy moly, that's why they're so important. They're multifaceted beings. So I feel for you, man. I have as good... Shallader disease? I never heard of that. Basically, the top of the tibia gets swollen when I do any physical exercise. Okay, now listen to this. Why would that be? Okay, so you're doing physical exercise, then you see the top of the tibia swelling. Well, why would any tissue swell, especially during exercise? Acidosis. You know, when you're exercising, what are you creating? A lot more lactic acid, muscles, but all the other acids as well. So the more acids you're creating already on a stagnant system that's supposed to remove these acids, what are you going to have? Swelling. Swelling is always a part of acidosis as the body becomes edemic as it rushes in to take the water. That's why exercise can create dehydration as long as you're not filtering, especially through the kidneys and adrenals. You get this system moving and filtering, you have to walk a long way to dehydrate because you have a self-perpetuating machine here to a certain extent. So this is all about kidneys and adrenals, my friend, even reaching up in here. So you want to deal with this. I have fragile toenails. So there again, we're going back to that parathyroid gland, man. You got to get a hold of this and get yourself out of this. I am losing my hair at 23 years old. So it's all through you. But remember, when we talk about the lymphatic fluids, guys, we're talking systemic fluids. These fluids are systemic, head to toe. So when you see a cyst like in this 2-year-old, he's probably involved head to toe. And the next thing you might see is a pituitary tumor in him or whatever. I mean, it's just that bad. And it's just like, that's how important you guys are to bringing this awareness to the world. This world is in a state of constipation, and it needs a little bit of detox, and you guys are just the very ones to do it. Because no one else is doing it. I have fought the pericarditis for the last 2 years. So here, this is not good either. See, this is in the heart, and you cannot. This is the sac in the heart. You're swelling up all over, my friend, and you're only 23 years old. This isn't good. You're going to get heart arrhythmias and then congestive heart failures early in life and da-da-da-da-da. It's a horrible thing here. I was pretty much immobile for 6 months. I also have a heart murmur. Yeah, because then, without proper calcium utilization, the valves get weak. The skeletal system gets weak, the connective tissue gets weak, and so everything starts to go. So you can see this is running concurrent in you, spot on. Your lymph system's backed up head to toe, goes to the kidneys and adrenals, fits with anyone 50 and below. Man, I'm 60, coming 64, and I'm telling you, it's got us all to a certain extent. The younger people, the worse, because no one is thinking about regeneration of tissue simplistically. We're off in labs chasing stem cells that don't work, at least for now. I feel my hands and feet are cold, and I have eye floaters. So here we go. Hands and feet are cold, so it's just not the parathyroid here, it's the thyroid as well. You're a good case here, Victor. Sorry about that. You're a good case to help everyone here because you're showing parathyroid with calcium utilization problems. You're cold showing the thyroid. Well, knowing that cells go down lymphatically, then you're seeing it all through you. The inflammation of the gums, the inflammation at the top of the tibia, especially when you exercise. And that was been my point. Now, this young man gives a good point here of what I'm telling you about exercise. We have this thing in society, exercise it away. And it's just that mentality of push, push, push. No, relax, relax, relax. And that's what you're going to have to do, Victor, is you're going to have to cut back on exercise until you get your kidneys filtering and get all this lymph moving in your body and get these acids out. Then exercise till hell freezes over. Who cares? But now isn't the time to do it because you could accelerate the breaking down of this tibia and everything else. Start getting into serious heart issues, arrhythmias and things like this. He grew up as totally had dyslexia and problems with partial reasoning. Again, this is going up in here. Upper circ, brain, and nerve, my friend. Can't beat them. Change all that around. At the same time, move that lymph. Get those sinuses detoxified, and you're going to be good. All right, man? Thank you. I looked at my overall diet of my whole life, and it was pretty much meat, white rice, beans, eggs, and a lot of dairy. Yeah. Now, Victor, I'm telling you, my friend, now you hit it right on the head. You had a diet that brought you where you are. And take a look at this. Your diet brings you where you are. You're a good example of your dietary habits. There's no saying, not in terms of you as soul, but you are what you eat. You've heard of that. Well, you're physically what you eat. Your cells' functionability, your ability of reasoning, and all this reaching into emotional strength, mental strength, but also physical endurance and physical strength. All this is tied up into the function of cells. And the function of cells have to deal with two fluids that have to deal with two sides of chemistry. It's that simple. Now, if you keep it that way, and we teach that, the whole world will understand, and then it will empower them to do something about this. But you were raised on just the very foods I was, basically, and it's what happens to us, and we go down with that, and that's what's happening, and you can turn that around. I can't remember during the time I had fruit or vegetables. Isn't that too bad? And some mamas, they don't allow their kids have vegetables because they don't like them. I have a son who have a wife like that. She didn't give the kids vegetables because she didn't like them. It's like, oh my God, honey boo-boo stuff. This is Krista. Hi, Krista. Oh, Doc. A little update for you. I officially ended my grape fast on October 21st. That's exciting. So I did exactly. All right. Somebody bring in the trophies, the gold stars. Here's a 5-month grape juice faster. I mean, Jiminy criminy, look at this. 5 months on grapes and grapes alone. Holy crap. I think she gets the record. Guys, bring the trophies. Let's have a party. Look at this. 5 months on grapes. You surely hold some kind of record. You know, we need to get a hold of the Guinness World Book of World Record, I'll tell you. I'll be honest, though, I bet this ripped you. The only reason I stopped was because I felt like nothing was happening, really, except weight loss. Still, oh no, there was, honey. Let me tell you, you might not have felt that you don't live 5 months on grapes and nothing happening. There's no way, you know. Still, then you might want to water fast for a week or so and work that deeper. Still don't have any major healing crisis. Well, well, maybe you were filtering good enough or you didn't need it. That's another thing. If you get yourself filtering good enough, you might not need to have these healing crises, because a healing crisis happens, generally speaking, when you have a lot of congestion built up in the body initially, and then of course there's the painful healing crisis of genetic weaknesses, but not even a cold or even mucus discharge. Hope you filtered out of the kidneys, though. Nothing, just weight loss alone. It honestly upsets me very much because I was working so hard and fighting through so much to have nothing happen. Oh, honey, don't think that, because a lot of things are happening. You can't go 5 months, which is unreal, on grapes and not get in there and change the matrix of things. There's no friggin' way on the planet. So don't ever feel disappointed about that. My God, you know, even if it's a chisel chiseling away at the impossible, it's still doing that. So I would not. Do we have your eyes here to take a look at that and see what you're up against? Honestly, let me see. My kidneys are still not filtering. Oh my God. My kidneys are still not filtering like I was hoping. Well, that's a problem. And I can say this, I don't know. You might try some lemon juice fasting to see a little more stringent to you. Again, you'll see the difference between, if you'd have been 5 months of lemons, I don't think anybody could do 5 months of lemons. But even if you did 1 month of lemon, that's more than most people. Very powerful, strong astringents. And you'll see what I mean when I use the word astringents. This is why I love the herbs, guys, because you got to bring in the herbs here. Also the glandulars sometimes to wake up the dead. But but still, you got yourself some filtering. I mean, I have dark yellow urine with very little flaky things, but nothing like the pictures you show here. Well, you know what? In 5 months on grapes, you probably got a lot out, though, still, honey. I still wouldn't think that much. I guess I just expected a lot more. Well, you know, maybe you didn't need a lot more. I'm telling you, you sometimes don't want some of these things people are getting. I mean, filtration would be nice, but maybe you don't have that backed up in you like some people do. Can't say. I think the worst part for me is telling my family and friends this is going to help me, which it does, which I still think strongly that it will, and it will. But yet having nothing to show, I wouldn't say that for it, but skins and bones. Well, you might want to turn around and build yourself up a little bit on some green drinks, maybe a superfood blend a little bit. Build yourself up for a while, and then head down the path again. Definitely take a couple kidney formulas and get into the kidneys and lymphatics and really use those formulas. Because in 5 months on grapes, there's no way nothing happened. It's just impossible. It's just impossible for nothing to happen. It's impossible. So whether you felt it or not, you definitely were moving some things inside. Now put on some weight, get some salads, do some avocados, things like that. Get yourself balanced and see what happens to you. You might like what you see. Now, but you've dug in pretty good. You need gold stars anyway, honey. Don't feel like nothing happened, okay? I think you did fantastic. You're incredible, and always feel that way. And also release when you do these things. Relax and release. You know, there's another thing. Sometimes emotions and things hold as well, as even when you're doing the diet perfectly. Sometimes you just have to let go of the emotions. You have to relax and just be. That helps a great deal too. Sometimes I want to give up because I'm not seeing anything to help motivate me. I understand 100% that this is a process. Yeah, but just keep that in mind, and that everyone is different. But I was just hoping to see at least something happen. So I'm going to push forward and continue because I did not come this far. Yeah, exactly. I love your attitude. And the thing is, balance out a little bit, honey. Get yourself on some vegetables. Remember this. When you're eating a grape diet, for some, it's a major move. For others, not so much. Keep in mind, eating a grape diet is just simply eating the food your body's designed to eat. Nature uses fasting on top of that to get people well. So try some days of water fasting. Maybe try a 10-day water fast since you're very disciplined at this time. And I might add is look at the discipline it took to do this. That's a spirituality. That's a growth in that. And you have to let that growth be. Because if you're fighting that and you're wanting and expecting things mentally, the mind could be holding you back too, Krista. So you just let go. Let all this go and move with that flow of God energy through you at the same time, or whatever energy you wish to donate it. Spirit, prana, life force, ek, I don't care. You know, the Om, the Hu, it doesn't matter. Whatever you call that movement of intelligence through life, and it'll open you up. But you didn't do 5 months for nothing. Don't ever think, and don't anyone ever think that. The thing is, you should see filtering in the kidneys. That it's dark yellow is interesting to me. You could have so much sulfur in your body that you're just locked. And I don't know what to say about it. Look at Babe, who's done, 2 or 3 years now on juices, mainly vegetable juices. So, you know, realize, guys, when I talk about astringents and things like this, how powerful that is. A 5 month grape fast, anybody with cancerous tumors and things like that shouldn't have anything left. So, you just have, maybe, Christy, you have to look at your eyes and see what you're up against. And that's why I love iridology, because it'll help to see if you have so much sulfur, you're impacted that way, and you're just chipping at it, things like that. You might have to get a little more stringent going on, get the GI broom, things like this, get on some kidney gland herbs and things like this to help you. I broke my fast with all fruits like you're supposed to do for over a week, although I still want to wait on salads, if I even do a salad or veggies, to be honest. Well, let me know how you feel eating a salad when you do, because you're used to living at a level maybe you haven't understood, or maybe you do. And so see what breaking down into lower vibrations do for you. You might have a hard time a little bit being so long on fruit, so see how you come up with that. I'd like to know. I don't want to slow my detox down. Well, put on a little weight then if you're just skin and bones, and then turn around and hit the lemon juice, and hit that for 10 days or 15 days, much stronger, and then try a water fast for a week or so. See the difference. Right now, you're priming and hydrating, and it could be it doesn't take nuts to send you right over the top here, honey. So you never waste your time. Anybody ever think you're wasting your time when you're going on grapes and you're going fruit diets? Because you're not. Imagine that same time on the paleo diet or on a dairy diet. You're doing good. Just hang in there. Don't be disappointed whatsoever. You're doing fantastic, I think. I don't want, let's see. I'm just shocked because I went straight from pastas, meats, and potatoes to all grapes overnight. That's pretty dang good, to be honest with you. I think I had at least 6 months of salads and a few things off of that, moving toward that. So that was pretty good. And I thought I was going to experience some intense healing. Maybe you got more healing than you realize. So I think you step back and relax a little bit and don't worry about it. Just keep on going. And look at your emotional states and your mental states and see if they're stopping any healing crisis. And maybe you don't need the healing crisis some people have, sweetie. That would be my hope, because I don't want people to go through gnarly healing crisis and a lot of problems. I really don't want that. I just try to give you guys heads up on it. But I think if you look at most YouTubers, they don't go through ripping and tearing. Some people do. Could it be that my lymph is majorly backed up? It could be. And if you're a dark yellow urine, that's not normal for detox. I mean, that's normal for detox, but that's not normal in healthy living. So you either have a high amount of sulfur blocking you, and that would be true. You would be impacted with that. By the way, Doc, I'm working on those eye pictures. There you go. Got to get them to me, honey. I want them to be perfect so that you can read them without any difficulty. Well, you don't have to go too crazy. I see, at class we're having everybody using cell phones, and these new high-powered cell phones, wow, they're pretty good. Still no improvement with my vitiligo yet. It could take a while. I'm telling you, you got to latch your body. Keep working on that. Make sure your pituitary's up. Work on that pituitary gland. Try the gland tonic and build and build and build. Maybe do a little glandular on the pituitary for a bottle or something, But really work on that. Take a while to change the whole skin pigmentation, especially when acids are involved in this process. So keep working on it. Definitely well worth it. It's been well over a year now that I've had it, even though I was on a bad diet till about 5 months ago, and I didn't spread any further. It didn't spread any further. Well, you stopped it in its tracks. And that's the thing. Even if you've stopped everything and you're in the process of going back and rebuilding, okay, honey. Okay, I was 3 years as a fruitarian, and it just takes it. I did see a lot of sediment and I did see a lot of mucus coming out, but I was full of it from dairy products. So you might be impacted with a lot of sulfur. Take a look at your eyes. You see orange in your eyes, that's it. And that might be why the dark yellow urine. But that just shows dark yellow urine through this whole process. Got some toxemia there. And it might be you're just like chipping at it and chipping at it and chipping at it. So don't give up. Keep going. You got us behind you here. I believe the herbs and fruitarian diet has played a role in it not spreading. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm writing this to you to share on this channel because I want to show people just how much of a process this is and that it is not easy, but it never is. Well, that's it. And you know what? Once you change your mindset, then you're just eating this way as a normal way because you have to feel better. There's no two ways about it. You can't eat grapes for 5 months and not feel better. I think once you start lowering yourself into the other foods, you're going to be keenly aware of how good you did feel. And so you have to take a look again at how impacted the body is lymphatically. I'll say this. We've had YouTubers out there that's taken almost a year to filter. I can't tell you. Are we missing something here? It's enough to say we at least are focusing on the appropriate tissues. That could be another thing. Could be that your pituitary, which definitely influences the kidney and adrenals, are the problem because of the vitiligo. And it could be your pituitary that's holding back your kidney filtration too. So this could be a big deal for yourself. Getting up in here this high and detoxing the body and this just shutting this off. So it could be a struggle for you to get there. But get there. And that's why I like the tools of herbs, and I hate to say it, the tools of glandulars sometimes, in these chronic cases. So I'd keep working with that. Keep working with the pituitary, keep working with the herbs, keep working to filter and get this pituitary turned around. Because I think once you do that, I think that's going to be very helpful. And you might be a case to show us that the pituitary has more of an influence on kidney filtration than we realize. And so it'd be important, especially with the vitiligo, to look at that and see that. And it could be why it's taking you so long, because getting way up here is a long time coming sometimes, honey. But I think you're doing fantastic myself. I really do. And let that be to everyone out there. Work. Don't get tired and fed up. Just keep going. Just make it your livelihood. Make it your way of life. Because you really have to make this some degree of a way of life. Not always detox, but a raw diet, at least 80-90%, should be a way of life. And so you have to be and work at it in that way. All right, I'm going to keep going here, Krista, because you bring up some good points here. And also some scratch of the head like, maybe that pituitary is a little more involved than we realize. So these are good things. And I think that for what's good for all of us is that we all share together here, because it'll bring a deeper understanding to this thing. And I've always said, listen, I've just laid the groundwork, and you guys are going to take this, you're going to help us all put some puzzles together and be very helpful. So this is something to think about more about that pituitary in relationship to that. Because I am 20 years and I live in Massachusetts, so snow and winter are right around that corner. Yeah, this is going to be challenging for you, and it might be a time to just kind of bring yourself into balance. Need those eyes, though, honey, because you really see what you're up against. And if you do have that chronicness of a pituitary, then you know your bowels are involved. And malabsorption. And let's just say for a while that Krista had malabsorption. So think about 5 months on grapes, and she's got malabsorption. So meaning she wouldn't be absorbing half of that nutrition or more. So she wouldn't be getting the power of the grape in her to help her. And this is that catch-22 you have with absorption. It'd be interesting to note if you had mucus coming out of your stools, what color that mucus was, how chronic your bowels are. Because remember, we showed you the eyes. You're always going to see a chronic bowel when you see pituitary problems. And then if you have a lot of sulfur on top of that, everything's just locked in there. And this is why I've referred in past videos as sulfur as a super glue. So really, I mean, we're up against some hell sometimes, and just trying to open the body up. So never think you wasted any time, because you're chiseling at the very least. But if you're having dark yellow stools all this, or urine all this way, you're moving some protein out of that body, honey. And it's interesting to me. Of course, those of you in northern climates here that are entering the winter months, do your best. Do your level best, because that cold air dictates a more warm diet, a more protein diet. This is why when you get up, you see these Alaska programs that are heavy meat and fat eaters, all these things like this. It does not breed longevity. It breeds acidosis, kidney failures. Just look at the people involved and their bodies and see that in them. So difficult, at the least. And I have, all respect for all you guys that is fighting for your health through these times. Be strong. Use warm vegetables. Don't go to proteins. Use warm vegetables, warm teas, things like that to warm you up. Keep yourself in balance always, but then sometimes tear it up. And Krishna, I'd probably move to a lemon juice fast, off and on as you bring yourself into a little bit of a balance. And then if you want to do a 5-day water fast, keep pulling on that body. Don't give up, because you've at least stopped your vitiligo, which is great, but you need to dig and get this rebuilt. And again, you're in a catch-22, and the pituitary might be slamming the kidneys, and the kidneys are backed up, and you can't get it opened up, and therefore you can't get to the pituitary. See what I mean? So this is why you have to work and work and work on these tissues. That's why our little frenzy herbs and sometimes the glandulars, don't beat me up though, but sometimes they're important to where we are right now on the human state of consciousness on planet Earth. The last thing I wanted to mention to you was about my friend that was just recently took interest in raw foods. I shared everything I know with them, and they are trying it out for themselves. But here is my question. I asked them now, or how they were doing with the diet, and all they told me the most bizarre thing. They said they eat raw, but when they have that uncomfortable urge to cheat, they put the food in their mouth, whether it be a piece of chocolate or a piece of meat in their mouth, chew it to get the taste, and then spit it out. Good. I like that. I've done that. I mean, come on. I mean, yes, you're definitely getting those molecules a little bit into the body. If you want to get some quick action in the body, put anything sublingual, But you know what? I like their thinking. That's not bizarre. I like their thinking. These people are people that want to do it, and I love their thinking, because they don't want it. They don't want it the rest of that food in the body. So actually, I think it's a good way to do it. You want a dead piece of animal, chew it, get the flavor, spit out the crap. And the flavor is actually going to be just from the Barbie or whatever it is you put on it, not from the dead tissue itself. And that's I'm glad they're not. To be honest, the truth, that's not bizarre. Might sound it to you guys, but not at all. To die-hard fans, good way to do it. So technically, they are not cheating or actually eating it. I had no idea what to say about that, because in a sense, they are kind of right. What is your opinion about that? Absolutely. Love you too, sweetheart. Absolutely. I say more power to them. A good way to cheat. Don't bring all the chemistry in there, just some of it. Good way to do it. What I love about this is that we're all in this together. And so, whatever we can do to work ourselves through that, we're doing that. And it just opens my heart when I see people like that, your friends, doing that, because it's just saying they're really trying to be as pure and as good as they can. And that's loving. That's great stuff. These are great friends. That's all I got to say. These are good people. Jocelyn, I'm contacting you today because I am a big supporter and fan of yours. Thank you, dear one. You have helped me out so much through your teachings. I am forever grateful. Well, the same back to each and every one of you. Like I said, we're God people, awakening to our God selves. And so, hello, The reason why I'm emailing you today is because I know that you have a lot of power and influence on the internet. I don't look at that. I was really hoping that you could do a short video for Washington State on voting yes to 522, encouraging people to vote to label GMO. Yeah, we have these little magnetic stickers that Shannon was making about GMOs. I know it. I tell you, Monsanto, holy crap. What else you got here? The amount of money Monsanto, Dow, Pepsi, Cola, and Nestle's are pouring into this campaign is unfortunately kicking our butt. You know, it shows you how these people are aligned to the negative forces. I mean, look at Coke and Pepsi. I mean, I was a fan years and years and years ago, particularly of Pepsi. I drank the holy crap out of it. And then as I became out of my teenage times, I realized, holy crap, this is an acid of about 3 pH. And it's like, holy crap. So when you see companies perpetuating foods that have the response of acidosis, you kind of wonder which side of the coin they're on. You know what I'm saying? Unconsciously, of course. But, there is also some levels that are very conscious of the products they're selling out there and the harm that those products are doing to people. I find it very interesting how Monsanto, Coke, and Pepsi and Dow all got together. Interesting, huh? But it just shows you the power of the negative forces. That you're right on. It takes the power of all of us to get out there and do this. And so those people in Washington State, there's no question you've got to fight that. And I don't know. The problem is the propaganda is good. And the propaganda even comes from the government itself, the FDA itself. And that's what's discouraging, that the people we set in power to trust, to oversee, the intellectual, narcissistic people, have gotten into this, this is good. Yeah, GMOs are good. Give me a little more. Oh, yeah, GMOs are really good. I mean, this level has to decay away because it's destroying the human consciousness, destroying the human race. But there's a level of I don't care. These Monsanto scientists, I've heard them talk, they don't care. They live in a world, that's just part of the mind. And why I've told you to get away from the mind. These are mind people that think in increments. And so these increments doesn't see the whole. So it's good to them, no big deal. To a chemist, calcium's calcium. Doesn't matter what form it is, it's calcium. Oh, so they lack the holistic view, the synergistic view of all chemistry and how all chemistry must work, and also must work in the presence of hormones and steroids. But to a chemist, acidosis is alkalosis. I mean, it's all messed up. And it just brings you, when you start to get more understanding, we don't have it all, but a little more understanding will show you where the world is still flat to our scientific community in a figurative way of saying that. It's like earlier talking about biological transmutations. We don't even really understand that. And this is the 21st century, and we can have now Dick Tracy stuff. So the world needs you guys from a higher consciousness perspective, and you're just all going to have to fight these Codexes and the GMOs and the Monsanto people, in other words, and this whole consciousness out there. It's just too bad. But that's what's going on with the intellectual mind. And if we don't infuse this world with spirituality and that higher presence of awareness and consciousness, then you're seeing what's happening. Because these people really think they're doing good. And I can't imagine Coke and Pepsi people think that consuming acids at 3 pH is doing the body good. I have to say that they probably do know what's up. But, this is the problem with this whole world right now. It's gotten so intellectual without the infusion of spirituality, meaning the negative power has controlled for so long that it doesn't want to give up. And that's why I was mentioning to you that get ready for the future. The battle between these people and us is going to be strong. Because these people hold the power. They lobby. They hold these politicians will sell their mother for $1. You got the new younger guys coming in there and gals. They're strong. They're fighters. But look they're trying to get beat up by the negative forces. Look at the Cruz and how he's getting beat up. Ted, and he's a good dude. He's trying to help the people. But he's getting beat up. And some people are going, yeah, he's bad. And it's like, geez, it's the puppets. And that's the problem. Don't be a puppet. It's like Krishna. She's working, and she's not going to stop no matter what. That's what it takes. Know what's true and then work through it. And that's important. I mean, get to yourself as consciousness. Spend some time alone in the dark room of the self and get to that most inner core, because your survival beyond this world depends upon it. Your survival right now in this narcissistic world depends on it. So we're up against a big battle right now, and it's a lot of things going on, guys. Hard to describe because some of you freak right out. Really tough out there, and a lot of you already know it. You know the ones I'm talking about. If we win and GMOs have to be labeled in Washington, you know, I can't imagine what the big deal is. If it's a GMO, label it. And you know, these are the criminals show themselves. I've always said that. The judges, you guys are criminalizing yourself. You show it. The Department of Justice, all these people out there that think they're hiding criminality. You show it, you wear it like a badge. You know, and that's just what I'm saying. Label, if it's a GMO, if you're proud of that, then label it as a GMO. If you're proud that your food product is a GMO, label it. It shows you they know that it's not, and therefore people won't buy it, so they don't want it labeled. If you're proud of what you do, put a label on it, right? Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. It is just the beginning to hopefully one day all food in the U.S. have to be labeled. Oh, I mean, that's what I'm saying. What's the big deal of speaking truth and labeling truth? I'd say that to the FDA, big time. I think that when a pharmaceutical causes death, it should be labeled, can cause death. Big black letters with a skeleton on it. Then if you take it, you took it, you know. You do run the risk, you knew the risk, and you took it. All right? If it kills you, you can't say a thing. All right? I know that most of your videos in Washington are probably already voting yes, but even if one new person is reached, well, you know I'm going to say yes, Jacqueline. You know I'm going to say, obviously stand up for truth. All products should be labeled. Also, irradiated food should be labeled. And just all these processes should be labeled when that's done to a food. If you're proud of what you're doing to it, and you think, and you're lost in that is good for people, then why not label it? Why fight that? And it just shows that these criminals are showing themselves. And I don't use the word criminals. These unaware beings. You know, but there's a point where unawareness and hurting others then crosses the line, don't you think? Sad stuff, sad stuff. That's why you all are so important. Every age group out there, each and every one of you are so important at bringing that light to this planet. And I have to say, not just keep beating it up on spirituality, but whatever you wish to call that, enlightenment, more awareness, whatever you wish to call that, who cares? But that's what needs to happen here. People need to learn to have some fun and get away from the mind, and that'll break that mental hold, that scientific mold that it's science, it must be true. Science is nature. If you hadn't noticed, the Creator already is doing it all. This biosphere is like none we have found yet. And it's an incredible biosphere. We're coming along, mutating that and claiming that's science. I mean, that's the problem with man's thinking. That's what I was talking about, the ego wrapped with the mind. And it happens. You see it in science. You see it everywhere. And you see those people that break away from that are your spiritual people. And a spiritual person is someone who is awakening to more of the holistic side, the allness side of life. You're seeing more of what life is outside of the little bitty mind. So it's real important, and I think this just rings all this home, that what we're talking about to you is spot on. Christine, hi sweetheart. Hi, I have recently started incorporating more raw foods, having been buying organic produce for a while. I have been guided to Dr. Morse on the YouTube, and it all just resonates with me. You know, I appreciate that, sweetheart, and I hope so, because I think truth resonates with us all. Because it's truth. And I think for once, people need to stand up and talk truth, not from an aberrated mind. You know, where fruits are bad for you? What? Where did that sneak in? You know, again, remember, this is a battle at one level between the positive and negative forces. You know, there's all levels and there's all battle, da-da-da-da-da. But if you're looking at creation, it's dualistic. Positive, negative, if you just kept it looking at that, and you see that constant, the negative and the positive and the negative and the positive. You see that battle forever going on. You want to be outside of both sides. But that's consciousness. It's outside of that. But in that is a battle between those two sides. And it's just forever going on. Sad stuff. I would like to start the journey of cleaning my body out, but don't know where to start. I have cholesterol rings around my eyes and sometimes have head fog. Okay, first of all, if it was me, I'm going on upper circumbrain nerve. Number one right off, because you want to start moving blood aggressively in the brain because you're getting blocked. You know, when you start seeing a cholesterol ring in your eyes, that's not a good sign. That means that it's not blood serum level problems, it's plaquing problems, meaning that you're getting occluded or blocked in the blood flow to tissue. And that's not what we want to hear. That's pre-strokes, all these type of things like that. It's Honeywell Dipactic car syndromes and stuff like this. So, honey, no, upper circumbrain nerve. Now, go to the causative factors. Remember, cholesterol is antacid. What's acids, all right? Cellular waste. So it means you're not moving your lymph system. That system, remember, the lymphatic system deals with the acid side of chemistry and the cellular waste of the human body. Got to be a sewer system in there somewhere. Where is it? Back in the blood? Do you ever see the kitchen be your place to poop to? No, but all the past kind of fall into that kind of thinking. Again, this is what controlled minds get involved in. That's why all the past, all of us, not just allopathics, naturopathic, all over, have to rise up out of the dirt and start getting a higher concept of things, because if not, holy crap. So, get on those kidneys and adrenals. Get yourself filtering. You know, we talk about this over and over again. This is so key. Thanks to Jermaine and all the other people, you're really showing people the sewage in the body. And that is really, really key here. Let me show you another one that we always show. This one, remember this one? You want to see this white sewage in here. Okay, so you work on your kidneys, you work on your lymphatics, clean the bowels. I mean, there's another sewer part. You clean out the eliminative organs so they can start eliminating properly, just common sense. And you want that upper circumbrain nerve, let me tell you. So, you know, I recommend a detox kit and then move aggressively into the a little deeper. I recommend 2 lymphatics, 2 kidney formulas, I really do. And the adrenals are essential, and start going after that issue. And then you'll start detoxing the cholesterol out. Your obstructions will cease to be. Everything will start opening up. You start hydrating interstitially. You'll start getting your comprehension back. The fog will go away. Kill some worms in you first couple of weeks. So you see why our first kit does what it does. I bet that kit, open up the liver, get into the lymph system, get into the kidneys, get into the endocrine glands, get into the bowels, and kill worms. That's a beautiful way of opening that door. And I've learned through the years you have to kind of open these doors when you're starting to detox, or it can get a little bumpy. So yes, the first 2 weeks of what I recommend there is why we do that, to start opening the doors. And then put the pedal to the metal. Do the Krista thing. Do the thing where you're really kicking it up with the diet and really start moving toward a more plant-based to a more fruit-based. And you'll see a lot more sewage happening. You'll see a lot more going on. I live my life in a very spiritual way. There you go. Do yoga twice a day, do Reiki, meditation, and I'm definitely on a journey. Yeah, a journey of awakening. Not of knowledge, of awakening, my dear one. And you're just awakening to who you are, quieting the mind. Why all these forms of Tai Chi, yoga? To quiet the mind. Because you shut that thing up, and you'll be able to see and become aware of what is, as opposed to what you think is. Big difference. Because what you think is conditioned by man, religions, things like this. I was thinking of perhaps incorporating some herbs with my desire to eat more raws. I certainly would, my dear, and I certainly would move from a vegetarian type thinking to a fruitarian type thinking, and that'll pound your spirituality a lot higher. Absolutely. More Raw Foods wondered if you could give me some guidance on where to start. I appreciate that, Christine. Absolutely. Honey, listen, you're right down that path. You can really open your spirituality by moving from more of a plant-based to a fruitarian-based, and you're going to get more movement of lymph than that. Look at the lymph system, look at the adrenals, as we discussed in past videos, and really get a hold of that, and you're going to do well with that. Especially when they're spiritual and opening their doors. The subject is iodine. This is Dot. Could you address the issue of iodine, please? I checked on raw figs, and there's very little information about it, and I'm confused. Yeah, I know. It doesn't take a lot of iodine to trip the thyroid and parathyroid gland. That's why you don't see a lot of it in fruits and berries. But if you really feel you want to kick this tissue up, I recommend a desiccated or raw tissue, or get into the berries, which are the glandulars, or like an herbal formula for the thyroid, which is glandular, which is berries. And go to kelp. Kelp has the highest iodine with the calcium, by the way. Iodine and calcium are twins of another level, because you need that parathyroid hormone to utilize calcium, and yet that iodine has affiliation for thyroid tissue. But if you take it by itself, like potassium iodide, these things can become toxic to you. And this is a real problem. This can actually initiate hyperthyroidism or speed up your blood or your heart rate, things like this. And then if you're not moving lymph well, that iodine can lock itself in the thyroid and stay there and create a hyperactivity for quite a while. I've seen iodine in all parts of the bodies, however. It's enough to say isolates are not the real key. That's not what nature uses. Nature uses whole foods to feed its species. So just go in that way of thinking. This doctor group who's pushing this new technologically advanced iodine supplement all over the internet, and he claims everyone should take it. 6 people, pregnant women and children. Now again, here we go with the intellectual mind again. And this is, we have a new state-of-the-art technology. This is like that new state-of-the-art technology of 3D radiation. Of course, we can radiate a cancerous cell in the eye, and it won't give you brain cancer, right? Well, I suppose there's a whole bunch of people who are going to disagree with that, and maybe should sue them over that. Technology. Then there was a guy with a palate cancer that came to me, and I won't mention the university, but they used some type of... I can't even remember what it was. They were into some kind of, like radiation, but it was, I don't know, it's like it altered molecules or something. I don't know. Anyway, they convinced this guy to try it. That wasn't good. This guy woke up called me with all kinds of mouth cancers and all kinds of problems. And you're shooting right up into the brain. I'm telling you. We have gone nuts as a civilization in the mind, and we need to stop, put our brakes on it, because you guys know the truth, and you just go down that road. You can fix everything, and then rebuild and spiritualize ourselves, and then start getting happy. Put down our weapons and start hugging each other. Instead of creating socialism, which never works, all these countries have proved that, you create just what that spiritual document, the Constitution, is. Individuality with love and respect for all others. Because you see yourself in everyone. So don't be fooled. And I'm glad, Dot, you're writing this, because don't be fooled by these I got a white shirt, but by the white coats, so to speak, who are putting out these advanced technological, if they use advanced technological, I can't even pronounce it sometimes. Run, because God already did. I mean, that's advanced technology. Can any of our scientists make this out of chemistry, out of thin air? I don't think so. They made that one, of course. Oh well. Or, that came from Scotland, Findhorn. This is from Findhorn, Scotland, if anybody ever knows what Findhorn, Scotland is. Shows you what cooperation with the little gnomes and divas can do to your foods. Look at my gardens and you'll see the same thing. He says that if every single person in the world was taking this supplement, oh man, that would be good for the bank account. Holy crap. It would put the pharmaceutical industry out of business. Oh my God! Oh, you got to see through that statement. That's a real narcissistic. I need to have some money in the bank statement. No offense to this chap, but let me tell you how this guy thinks that iodine is the curative reason why you don't filter through your kidneys and why you have acidosis and why you have tumors and everything. This guy's he's lost in space of the mind, or whoever this is. Not down in this person, but it's enough to say that this is insanity. This is narcissistic kind of thinking as it is, because health has nothing to do with that. We have a whole nother level of problems. Like this young man that had the inflamed gums, that has the deterioration of the bones, just take a little iodine. I will say, though, plant iodine is great for the thyroid, parathyroid to kick those up and definitely kick up calcium utilization, blah, 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 blah. But you must do it in balance. Chemical balance, by the way. He's considered this supplement as a panacea for everything, I bet. Those are the people that do try to make a lot of money on something, don't they? No offense to him, but I mean, my God, I mean, that kind of thinking is crazy. Especially in isolates. You can say, maybe an herbal formula can help everybody universally, and there might be some herbs in there that some people can't deal with universally. But if it's something for the kidneys, tissue specific, then you might be able to tout something like that. Tissue specific is the botanicals that come holistically bound, racially bound, synergistically bound, magnetically bound in chemistry and in magnetics and in consciousness. And we can't make something like that. The answer is already on the planet. The answer is already all around us. We just choose to look through the mind and the control that mind has through education, academics, and all that kind of crap. So we've kind of got lost where science has taken us up to a certain point. Now it's taking us down a dark road to Hellville. Have to pull ourselves away from that sometime, become the new scientists, the spiritual scientists of life, who bring in the holistic concepts, the synergistic concepts of why life works better as a whole as opposed to units. Man, I've been suffering from Hashimoto thyroiditis, meaning same thing. You got inflammation of the thyroid. Well, what causes inflammation in the body? There's only two sides of chemistry. You have to be careful with one side. So it's the acid side. Now, what system deals with the acid side of chemistry? Spot on, the lymphatic system. So guess what's going on with you? The same thing that's going on with the rest of us humans, especially those humans that have had a lot of milk, dairy-type products, meats, things like this. So, they don't get confused. Do not get confused. And she was told to stay away from iodine. Whoever told you to stay away from iodine is probably more accurate than not. However, iodine's in basically everything. It is not the iodine that's the problem here. It's the inflammation. Well, let's use another word for inflammation. Let's use another word for that which suppresses or stimulates the function of cells. And we'll use the word acids, and we'll use the word lymphatic system, and we'll use that whole connecting link of kidneys and adrenals. That's where you're going to find your problems. And you can fix all that. That's pretty easy to fix. But you've got to get your lymph system. And by the way, remember, the head sits on top of the gut, which is the embryonic trunk, which you need to clean those bowels out with it. So it's just like moving your body toward Wellville is moving your body through the process of detoxification, which removes inflammation, which is the product of acidosis, which is a product of stagnant lymph. And you can go down that way of thinking. But to think that you take a supplement like that in this gigantic process of interstitial stagnation and acidosis, and that's somehow going to be a panacea, is a narcissistic insanity. No offense. There is a lot of confusing information on the subject. Keep it simple, sweetheart. Keep it simple. Don't be confused. That's why I quit reading books. There's a point where I said, that's it. I'm reading everybody else's opinions and everything else, and it's a ring around the posy, and it's like, no. And then you have a million different opinions. What's real? What's real is your body's made of cells. What's real is you have two major fluids in your body that deal with the health of those cells. That's real. What's real is there's two sides of chemistry. We at least know that. What's real is that one side of chemistry is called the alkaline or base side, which is the healing side and the dominant side of chemistry on this planet. If that was the corrosive side, it wouldn't be the dominant side. The corrosive side is what in chemistry we call corrosive, is acids. So take the taste difference. Take a bite of grape in your mouth and hold it in there and chew it. And then put a big swig of Coke in your mouth and hold it there and see which one you like the best. See which one hurts. See which one feels good. You know, base chemistry or acid chemistry. And know that same experiment is going on interstitially in your thyroid and in every tissue in your body. And think, if I'm a cell, which one of those do I want? Do I want the refreshing feeling of grapes and that upliftment, or do I want the acid burn of acids? Not difficult. Not difficult. Keep it simple, sweetheart, and keep it simple, all of you guys, because you're going to be pulled by the mind. Oh, but that's too simple. Oh, you can't do that. But what about iodine? And what about, no. What about the metabolism of iodine? Get into that. Get into the adrenal glands. Get into why the body isn't metabolizing chemistry. And are you absorbing chemistry? Remember the 4 processes: digestion, absorption, utilization, elimination. Digestion, stomach, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, small bowels. Absorption, small bowels predominantly, colon somewhat. Utilization, endocrine glands. Elimination, kidneys, adrenals, GI tract, and skin. Those have to be working well before you can claim victory over the disease or over the Hellbill side to Wellbill, guys. There's a lot of confusing, but in natural form and as a supplement. Either way, when you isolate chemistry, it's no more in its natural form. Do you realize that? Whenever you isolate that, no matter what should I say, where you get it, no matter what source, when you isolate, you've taken it from its natural form, because in its natural form, it's synergistically bound with its other family members, the other world of chemistry that exists with it. And this, of course, is a magnetic power, too, and a consciousness power. Once we start disturbing all that, we start breaking all that apart. Now we have a free radical. Now we have a Lone Ranger that is out there by itself, and life doesn't work as Lone Rangers. Lone Rangers can get pretty, it can affect so many other things. So don't be confused. Go holistic thinking. Go oneness. Go allness. Go holistic, meaning the whole food. Don't take, I'm going to take the chemistry out of this food and have the same effect. Here's an example. Which is more powerful, eating grapes or taking the calcium, iodine, and everything out of the grape and taking that? Which do you think, realistically, is the most powerful way of ingesting life? Chemical life. You betcha, baby. The grape. And I take the chemistry out of that grape, it's just like cooking it. I've destroyed the magnetics, the consciousness of the grape. I now have a handful of isolates. In other words, I have consciousness at a low level now, and I want to bring my consciousness of myself to a high level. Not going to do it. And do I have the astringent power? What have I done? So there's so much more than the vitamins and minerals. Remember that. So much more chemistry. So, Dot, God bless you, and a good question. Oh, this is Melon Lover. Me too. Matter of fact, what I wouldn't give for a watermelon grown from Georgia northward, right now, seeded, in its prime of power. Someone had a watermelon from, where was it in the class, from Canada or something. I'm going, what? Oh, man, he juiced it up. It was so good. Holy crap, that was good. May Dr. Morris post a video about career paths. I would like to know more about naturopathy as a career, especially considering the price tag and time commitment required by those ND schools, which compares to MD schools. It must be impossible to pay off. Hello. Yeah, former pre-med student who now feels they have no career path, lost. I'm too sensitive to go to med school knowing what I know. Oh, good man. Oh, man. Options: A, get an ND. B, YouTube raw cooking show. Guess I could chop melons and pick lemons. C, give flyers, handouts on the corner. Not bad. I would love to open a highly raw plant-based restaurant, but I need money to start. Help. How am I supposed to support my family in the future? Well, you're pre-med. Means you're a smart cookie. Take what you know and start helping others. I don't care if you start out. I started out in my garage. I started brewing in the kitchen. So, you know what? Start helping others. You have all our blessings. It's better now because I'm giving you all the tools. You don't have to want for information because you got it right here. You can call in. The staff will help you. And you start working with others. Working on yourself and working with others. Because I agree with you. I don't think naturopathy exists in this country. I think that there's a few of us that are hanging on to those strings as the negative powers are trying to pull. States are trying to outlaw. That's whole narcissistic, violating all these rights and, just making a monopoly out of this whole thing. Antitrust laws, it's just a mess. You don't think of antitrust law violation when it comes to medical practice, but they're violating them like crazy. Going to be the next lawsuits coming, I can tell you, talking to some of these attorneys. So going to be some powerful stuff. And one reason we want to go after the Obamacare as a violation of antitrust laws, because it doesn't set up naturopaths or homeopaths or anybody else in that way. So definitely a big violation of antitrust laws. Blah, 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 blah. But it's enough to say, I think the future is herbology. And I think those are the simplest degrees. You get most of them online. You can do some herb walks with Dr. Christopher School. I think getting herbal degrees are much smarter. It'll give you at least a degree to put on the wall and learn how to detox people. Learn how to take people from Hellville to Wellville. Not difficult, simplistic, and you'll give people their lives back. And I invite every one of you to set that up in every town across the world. And let's get this world turned around and get this negative forces back to the side that it needs to stay on, where there is at least the balance. Getting to balance is going to be tough. So absolutely, good question. And this goes for every one of you. I highly recommend you get in the herbal side of that and that you avoid the concept of all diseases. That concept will only land you in trouble, and you're playing in their field of dreams. Learn reality and learn the truth. Chemistry. They don't own chemistry. They don't own physics, stuff like that. They're trying. They're trying. The FDA's sneaking, trying. They're trying to own words like inflammation and things like this. They're trying to own medical words and stuff. Well, I can understand that to a certain point, but there's a certain point, like Obama, you cross the red line. But this time we don't sit there and wait with red lines. We're going to act on this. But the thing is, keep it simple. And you'll love your life better, and when your clients hug you and love you, that's the respect you need. That's the love. That infuses all of us, because we're all together here. And become a healer. You're pre-med, become a healer. You're sensitive. You're a spiritual sort. You've got the adrenals and kidneys to work on, but go after that and work with others' health. And just break into it, however you do it. Get in town, set up a lecture. Use what we're talking about here. Keep it simple. Get in your town. Listen, if you only knew how many hours and days in my life I've spent going to towns all around Indiana, Florida, and Texas, and going to a bank and getting a free meeting room, or a library, getting a free meeting room, and then setting up a lecture, going up and getting posters ran off, putting a little ad in the newspaper, see if I can get any freebies, and then putting up posters all around town and getting people to come to my lectures. I've done that, I can't even tell you, thousands of times. My whole life has been spent doing that, trying to get the awareness out there. I can't tell you how much work I've done with this, how many lectures I've given, some to one or two people, some to a room full of people. But slowly, little at a time, we've chipped. Now you got the value of YouTube. All of you guys, we can educate you. You don't have to go through the years that we did with sweat and disappointment and all this other stuff. And the world is ready. The world has to make this move, or decay, pain, and death will be the end result. And people want more. Souls are speaking out. So go this way, my friend, and you'll find it a much better way. Melon lover. Oh, this is a Prune, P-R-U-N-E. Hi, Doc. Do you think water fasting could remove heavy metals from the body? Yeah, I do. Because most of them stuck in mucus and stuck in the lymph system. Absolutely, I do. But if you're talking about blood that spills over in the blood, or blood kind of retains. Simple fruits and greens clean that out of the body well. Get the kidneys filtering. This is key to any heavy metal removal, any neurotoxic removal. Remember, neurotoxins, they're as bad as heavy metals, or worse, because they suppress breathing, they suppress neural functions, and nothing good ever comes of that. So definitely detox cleans everything out. Get away from this concept of cleaning the blood constantly. You've got another fluid that's 3 times bigger that needs cleaning and filtering, and that's the one you need to go after. Chelation therapy, I don't mess with the blood. It cleans real easily. But again, going back to someone originally talking about the spleen and liver, you always clean those in detox. But they have to clean lymphatically. Because remember, when you talk of cleaning an organ, what are you talking about? Bunch of cells and 2 fluids. What are you cleaning? You're cleaning the fluids. Therefore, the cells now can get fed and eliminate their waste properly. Absolutely. Keep it simple. I know you talked about fruit and algae and leafy greens, but I wondered about water fasting. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, and you don't need algae to detoxify heavy metals. Iris moss, anything dark green, but also remember your astringents. They clean you. And remember, filtration is essential to removal. Okay. Also, what do you think of prolonged use of baking soda as a replacement for shampoo? Oh, not bad. I do it in my mouth as toothpaste. Absolutely. I've used it for years. Absolutely, you could. Well, you can create all kinds of neat stuff for shampoos and stuff. I mean, you could create all kinds of nice herbal things, and using the white oak barks and things like this for astringents, and using your aromatic herbs and stuff for nice stuff. That's the world to have fun in and play in. Is the world of botanicals. From the aromatics to the roots, you can do all kinds of things. It's endless to what you can do with feel-good stuff and stuff to clean and rebuild. It's endless. It's the fun part of life. And we still have scientists playing in GMOs and in the field of dreams, which is destroying the world on one side. We must rebuild it on the other. Because you can't have all destruction. That's why you're here. That's why we're here. That's why this video is happening. That's why our whole world is happening. Because we're the soldiers of light coming in. If that doesn't happen, the darkness sucks it in. Look at how the darkness is sucking in the loss of fruits. People are afraid of fruit eating? Are you kidding me? That's bizarre to me. That's insane to me. It's a negative force. It's taking the foods away from you so you can't get well. And that's insane. That's why your power is needed. That's why your knowingness is needed here. Yes, we have to grow better food. Yes, we have to pick more ripe. Absolutely. All those things said, you must understand the power of the fruit and the melon. And more than that, the berries. The berries, berries, berries. All the power in the berries, babies. Hey, Bartholomew. My mom was diagnosed with stage 2 colon cancer 2 years ago and was irradiated with stage 2, as treatment for 6 weeks. Boy, sad too, because you burn all the tissues around there, even the spine. Now she has about 10 rapidly growing goiters in her neck. What program would you recommend for her? She is mostly raw and will be starting on the detox herbs shortly. Thanks. Hugs and love. Thanks, aloha to you too. Boy, this is just a sad thing. And listen, guys, these are examples of why you're talking about a systemic issue. When they bring up the word cancer, know what they're talking about. They don't even know what they're talking about, but know you're talking about the lymphatic fluids that have backed up in these tissues, though that fluid which deals with the acids from the cells, and now the acids from the cells are intracellular. Intracellular acidosis means you can't poop anymore as a cell. You can't remove your acid waste from a cell into the interstitial fluid because you're backed up, you're constipated. This then, of course, just like when you're constipated, you start mutating. And that's exactly what's going on here. And it's that simple. When you start seeing tumors popping everywhere, that's a fluid that's not filtering. The lymph nodes are backed up. Well, where does it go from the lymph nodes? Back into the blood? Well, if the blood wasn't filtering, then the person would die. And if we were acidifying the blood, the person would die from that. Allopathic is insane with that kind of thinking. Understand the role of the kidneys in the skin. Understand why they're sweating. Understand why there's urine and what urine should have in it. And when you open that door and you start filtering, you start getting sewage in your urine, you'll see these goiters going down. By the way, she's probably backed up and then going back to the colon cancer. Do you guys see the connecting link between here and here? Then this is just the trunk of the tree. So she's malabsorbed. She has interstitial lymphatic constipation, head to toe. I mean, this is a problem. So she needs to get this moving sooner than later. I would jump on a grape diet. Man, if they went on Krista's 5-month grape diet, she wouldn't have those tumors on the neck. So get those kidneys filtering. Use the kidney formulas. I would get on a program, just like I said, I have a 14-week protocol that I've made up. I personally like that. I'm not trying to push these things on you guys. I'm not built that way, but I'm just saying, get something like it, whatever you do, but really go after that. And nowadays, I use 2 kidney formulas, 2 lymphatic formulas, 1 tincture, 1 capsule. I go into the glands and try to wake everything up, and this might be going back to that 5 months on grapes, been the vitiligo case. You might be looking at pituitary, again, control of some filtration of the kidneys, real probability. So real stuff here. We got to turn everything on and get fluids of filtering. Your mom just is not filtering, and it's just going to get worse from here. Doesn't get better, it gets worse. And when they're trying to attack this, you can't. You're attacking a backed up fluid that's not filtering, that deals with acids, with more acids. If there isn't anything any more insane or criminal, I don't know what is. And I hope that modality wakes up to this some of these days, because there'll be no respect from anybody that understands truth until they do. And then, how do we make up for all the tissue damage and all the souls? But that's all the process of creation. Can't do anything about it. It is what it is. But we can infuse it with awareness and consciousness. And that's what all of you are here to do with me, is to infuse this world with light and love and awareness. Please, gee, many credits. This is one example. They'll radiate her until she just starts killing all the cells. And you don't kill your cells. That's an oxymoron. You don't kill cells because cells are mutating from acids. That's like an oxymoron, because you kill one, you kill them all. What you do to one, you have the ability to do to thousands and tens of thousands around it, or the whole body. No. You make healthy, you make well, because mutation can become unmutation. There is regeneration, and we hold the banner for tissue regeneration. Let me tell you, I don't see too many naturopaths doing it with paleo diets and anything else out there, vitamins and minerals. Doesn't happen. Been there, done it. Regeneration, understanding the fluids in the cells. That's simple. Keep it simple, guys. So, aloha to you, my dear one, and get your mum well now. Not yesterday. Might try the 10-day lemon juice fast after about a 10-day grape fast. Get her strict, get her strong, and move her now. Don't mess around. Not pretty what's going on.